Guilty Gear's protag Soul Bad Guy is nothing short of being a strong powerhouse not only in the lore, but also in his gameplay. In this video, we're going to cover Soul's archetype, key normals and specials, and the general game plan to get you on your way to playing Soul in Guilty Gear Strive Season 2. So buckle up, noobs. We're going to learn a thing or two about Soul Bad Guy. So the style of character that Soul is, or his archetype if you will, is Rushdown. Soul is a very well-rounded character with all the basic tools necessary to get the dub. He excels at putting pressure on the opponent with his great up-close buttons. Additionally, he plays what's known as the strike throw game very well, and it is a very prominent strategy in Guilty Gear Strive. And most importantly, Soul's damage output can be tremendous, even from the most basic of combos. Let's take a look at Soul's key normals. 5K, or standing K. This is Soul's fastest normal at 3 frames worth of startup that hits twice. The first hit hits mid and the second hits high. 5K is important to Soul's defense for 2 major reasons. Number 1, its fast startup is strong at interrupting the opponent's offensive strings. And number 2, this move services as an alternative to his many anti-airs on the second hit. Next up we have 2K, or crouching kick. This is Soul's quickest low option. There's not too much to say here other than it's the low option to set up the generic knockdown as for any character in Guilty Gear Strive. Next up we have standing far slash. This is the god normal for Soul. This is your main tool on approach due to it being an advancing normal and its +2 frames of advantage versus opponents. It's also great for fishing for counter hits as it can lead into big damage for Soul. So be sure to familiarize yourself with this button. So to accompany the far slash, we also have close slash. This is Soul's overall strongest up close attack as it leaves Soul at +3 frames of advantage, making it a very strong tool in delayed offense. This move also has the benefit of being one of the strongest dash cancelable normals in the game. When you're doing your delayed offense, be sure to string into far slash and standing heavy slash. You will definitely be using this move a lot when you get up close and personal. Soul's 2 slash, or crouching slash. This move works well as your counter poke option to your opponent's approaches. Additionally, this move is great for your approaches as well. So be sure once again to familiarize yourself with how to use this button. Next up we have 6 slash, or forward plus slash. This is one of Soul's best long range normal attacks on approach to your opponents. This move serves well as a whiff punish for long recovery attacks, so be sure to pay attention to your opponent when they are whiffing. It's also pretty good to catch your opponent's backdash whenever you have started your offense. So next up on the long range attacks we have 6H, or forward plus heavy slash. This move is definitely worth mentioning because of the speed in which this move starts up, which is at 9 frames. This move is a fantastic whiff punish attack against opponents who are whiffing big buttons. On normal hit, it causes a hard knockdown and ground bounces on counter hit, allowing for you to follow up with a combo. As a note of caution, please be sure to use this move sparingly because the recovery on this move is very long. And of course, we have everyone's favorite button in Guilty Gear Strive, 6P, or forward plus punch. This is your universal anti-air, so you definitely want to familiarize yourself with how to use this normal. In addition, it is great for crushing the mid-high attacks on your opponent's approach. This move is a no-brainer, so be sure to familiarize yourself with how to use this normal. Next up we have Jump Punch. Jump Punch is a solid air-to-air check against your opponents. It can also be chained into itself and special cancelled. The range on this move isn't very long, however it is still very solid of a move to check your opponents for leaving the ground.
Last up on our normals is jump slash and jump heavy slash. These are your go-to jumping attacks for your approach. Jumping slash is a single hit attack. This has a large hitbox. Meanwhile, jumping heavy slash is a 2-hitter, so it's good for breaking your opponent's defense when you're air dashing or just jumping at your opponent naturally. These are your typical go-to attacks for your air dash and or jump approaches. So definitely familiarize yourself with these 2 normals and your air approaches. Now that we've gone over the key normals, let's get over to Soul's special moves. First up on the list we have Gunflame. This is Soul's projectile.
Gunflame doesn't travel too far, but serves its purpose as a fairly safe special move to end your offensive strings with. Gunflame can also be feinted by doing 214p or quarter circle back punch to fake out the move in order to bait your opponents into making movements. Next up, we have Bandit Revolver. Bandit Revolver is a two-part move that is a big part of Soul's combos. When on offense, the second hit can be delayed if you think your opponent will challenge for a counter hit. The counter hit on the follow-up attack from Bandit Revolver does allow for a combo as well. Alright, next up in the special moves, we have Volcanic Viper. This is Soul's meterless, invincible reversal option. This move is strike invul, but does lose to throws. The slash version is more often used as the reversal option, while the H version is more used for combo enders. The H version specifically has a special property known as Clean Hit, in which causes hard knockdowns and does increased damage for Soul's combos. Next up on the list, we have Bandit Bringer. This is Soul's jumping overhead option. Bandit Bringer can be done both on the air and on the ground. The grounded version is safe on block. Meanwhile, the air version can be held by holding the kick button. Despite being able to hold it and cause a delay, you are a lot more punishable on block. Next on our special move list, we have Night Raid Vortex, or we just call it Vortex for short. Soul rushes forward low to the ground for a launching uppercut on the opponent when he closes in. Vortex has a low profile property in which Soul can get underneath some attacks to punish them quickly. While this move may seem very appealing because of the speed and the low profile property, this is still not the safest option to go for. Be forewarned that it is very unsafe on block. Next up, we have Fafnir. This move causes a guard crush state on block, leaving Soul at a whopping plus 11 frame advantage against his opponents. This allows you to start your pressure up should you force them to block it. On hit, this move causes a knockback ground bounce that can be followed up by a Vortex for a quick combo. While Fafnir does seem very appealing, especially due to the guard crush state and plus frames, this move does not allow you to be special cancel into from any of your strings. This move has to be done independently of your strings, so use this move with caution. Lastly on our special move list is Wild Throw. This is Soul's command grab to keep the opponents on their toes. Wild Throw does well as a means to close out rounds due to its damage potential, and is an excellent addition to Soul's throw game as it is an unbreakable throw. So when you mix in your normal throws, be sure to use Wild Throw as well to complement it. Next up, we have Soul's overdrives. First off on the overdrive list is Tyrant Rave. This is Soul's staple overdrive combo ender. It does sport invincibility frames. There's not too much to say other than it's your most damaging combo ender in just about every situation. Soul's second overdrive is Heavy Mob Cemetery. This is Soul's command grab super. This super does sport some super armor, however it is not the fastest whatsoever to punish any kind of move in the game. It does look very cool, but you won't be using this super almost ever. Well, I guess unless you want to troll your friends. Now let's take a look at Soul's game plan. The strategy behind playing Soul Bad Guy. In the neutral game, Soul's neutral is going to require you to get into his effective ranges, which specifically is the mid to close ranges. In the mid range, you'll be using 6 slash or forward plus slash to poke at your opponents. Mix your special attack cancels with the following: Gunflame, Gunflame Feint, and Bandit Bringer. On general approaches, you'll be using Soul's Far Slash, so it's very important to get used to approaching this attack. It strings into standing heavy slash, however be mindful of the distance as it can whiff on 2 occasions. 1, you simply just spaced it poorly. Or 2, your opponent used flawless defense to push you back to force it to whiff anyway. Once you get to the neutral and you get in on your opponent, it's time to work the hallmark of Soul's game, the strike throw. The goal here is to make the enemy guess between whether or not you're going to continue your attack strings or throw them based on your delays in your offense, hence strike throw. The major starting point is mostly from close slash because of its +3 frames of advantage against the opponent. It can be delayed into either far slash or heavy slash as your main go-tos in your delayed attacks. If the enemy decides to interrupt a delay in your offense, you can score a counter hit and combo them for big damage. Alternatively, once you've trained them to block, you can now start implementing throws in your game due to them being afraid to interrupt your offense. Strike throw is going to rely on your instincts as a player to read and condition opponents to your offense. Lastly in the game plan, let's take a look at Soul's corner game. The corner is by far the scariest position for Soul to hold down against his opponents. Soul's kit becomes even more potent in this position because there's no more screen space to escape his strike throw game, especially in endgame situations where the opponent has to guess for game and now they are guessing between Soul's unbreakable command grab wild throw or a strike such as close slash. Although Soul's corner game may seem very simple, it still makes for one of the most effective in all of Guilty Gear Strive. I mean, he's the pro tag after all, he has to be good. In conclusion, Soul is the standard for rushdown characters in Guilty Gear Strive. With his high damage output and strong strike throw game, Soul is one of the most well-rounded characters for new players. If you're looking for a solid pressure character, Soul just might be for you in Guilty Gear Strive Season 2. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed content like this, please be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments below.